Hello, coders. Professor Solo back at the desk. Before we hit play on today's overview, I just want to say, responsive images are one of those topics that a lot of developers try to skip past in the rush to deliver, right up until their layout looks like somebody sat on it, their bandwidth gets slammed, or their last contentful paint is splattered all over the wall. So, today, TA Watts and I are going to walk, not run, you through the Optimal Image Prime module, a transformative list of everything you need to know to make your images smart, sharp, and fast. I'll chime in along the way just to add some context and point out the parts that really matter. Alright? Lights down, neon up, roll tape.
Hello, Web Dev TNT coders and crew. TA Watts here, reporting for responsive image duty. Professor Solo has dropped 5, count 'em, 5 glorious lessons for this module. And guess who gets to be your neon-lit guide through all of it? That's right. So strap in. Your images are about to get a whole lot smarter.
All right, here's the game plan. We're going to cover the entire toolkit. First, choosing your image weapon, then taming those layout gremlins. After that, getting the right pixels in the right place. We'll move on to directing the perfect shot, and finally, mastering CSS backgrounds. Yep, we're covering it all. By the end, you'll be in total control.
First things first, before you even think about writing a line of code, you gotta pick your weapon. See, different image formats aren't just there for fun. They exist for a reason. Each one solves a very specific problem. So let's meet the team.
So why so many formats? Well, this timeline basically shows the web growing up. We started way back with the basics, GIF and JPEG. Then we all demanded transparency, and bam, PNG answered the call. But now, we live in an age of hyper-efficiency. We want tiny files and amazing quality, and that's what gave us WebP and, more recently, AVIF. Think of it this way. Each format is a weapon, forged to solve the problems of its time.
All right, meet JPEG, the old reliable. It's your workhorse for photographs. Its superpower? Making huge, complex images into teeny tiny files. That's why it's been a web staple since, forever, since '92. But there's a catch, right? It's lossy, meaning it throws away some data, and it has zero support for transparency. Don't even try it.
And then we have PNG. Pixel perfect royalty. If you got a logo, an icon, or literally anything that needs a transparent background and razor-sharp edges, PNG is your hero, no question. The trade-off? File size. That perfect, lossless quality comes at a cost, and your files can get, well, let's just say, beefy.
Okay, now we're talking modern web. This is WebP, and frankly, it's the all-arounder you've been looking for. It's like the best of both worlds. You get the small file sizes of a JPEG, but with the awesome transparency and crispness of a PNG. Seriously, for like 90% of the images you're going to use today, this should be your default, your first choice, period.
And then there's the new kid on the block, the compression prodigy, AVIF. Look, when you need the absolute, positively smallest file size possible for a super high-quality photo, I'm talking that big, beautiful hero image at the top of your page, AVIF is your champion. The quality it delivers with these shockingly small files it's just mind-blowing. Okay, so let's put it all together. Here's your tactical breakdown. WebP, that's your default weapon of choice. For that crisp UI that needs transparency, you deploy a PNG. Need a universal fallback that works everywhere? JPEG has your back. And for that premium, high-performance hero shot that has to be perfect, you unleash AVIF. Know your roster. Know your weapons. That's what makes you dangerous.
Okay, quick solo sidebar. If you remember nothing else from this entire module, remember this. Choose the format based on what you're delivering. If it's photography, try WebP or AVIF. Logos, icons, UI shapes, that's SVG all day long. Something old school or exported from a potato? That's JPEG. This one decision is responsible for 60% or more of your performance gains. And that's what you want. All right, let's go on.
All right, you've picked your weapon. Awesome. But now, you got to stop it from completely wrecking your page. Because, by default, images are basically chaos gremlins. And if you don't tame them, trust me, They will bust your layout wide open.
So let's frame the problem, shall we? You've got this massive, gorgeous 1792 pixel wide image, and you drop it onto a tiny 360 pixel screen. What do you think happens? Here's a hint. The browser, by default, doesn't care one bit about your container. It's just going to render that image at its full, glorious, layout-breaking size. The result?
You get this. Total uncontained chaos. Yep, there it is, the dreaded horizontal scroll bar. The image is just spilling out all over the place, blowing past its container. It's an awful user experience, and the worst part is, it's so easy to avoid.
And check this out, the perfect before and after. On the one side, you have the uncontained chaos gremlin, and on the other, our perfectly contained hero. See how it respects its container? How it scales down so gracefully? It's beautiful. So what's the magic spell? What's the secret?
It's not even a spell, it's this tiny but ridiculously powerful CSS rule. Just 2 lines. Max width, 100%. That tells the image, hey, you are never allowed to be wider than your parent container. And height auto just tells it to keep its proportions right as it scales. You drop this one little rule in your global style sheet and bam, you've just tamed every single image on your entire site. Done.
Yeah. Listen to the assistant. Max width, 100%, height auto. If you don't contain your images, your layout goes full poltergeist. Cross the streams? No. Contain your ghosts and your media every time. That's the secret to preventing a giant image of a marshmallow man who demolishes your homepage. Who you gonna call? Max width. Okay. Let's get back to Watts.
Okay, next level. Your images are contained now, they're not breaking the layout. Great, but you're still sending a massive, high-res file to a tiny little phone. That's a waste of bandwidth. So now it's time to teach the browser how to pick the right file for the job.
So here's the old way of doing things, the problem state. The browser knows a bunch of stuff, right? It knows the user's screen size, it knows the pixel density, and you, the developer, you know how much space the image is supposed to take up in your layout. But you're not talking to each other. You're not speaking the same language. You each have half the story, and you can't make a smart decision.
And this is where srcset and sizes come into play matchmaker. It's genius. With srcset, you, the developer, basically hand the browser a menu. You say, hey browser, I've got these image files for you, and here's how wide they are. Then with sizes, you give it the final piece of the puzzle. And by the way, on a small screen, it'll be this big, and on a big screen, it'll be that big. All of a sudden, you're having a real conversation. The browser has everything it needs to make the perfect choice.
And the result? It's just beautiful. On its small phone screen, the browser is smart. It downloads the small, efficient version. But on a fancy, high-density Retina display, it knows to grab that gorgeous, crisp, high-res version. No wasted pixels, no unnecessary downloads. You give it to info, and the browser does all the heavy lifting for you. That's the way it should be.
And just remember, one teeny little thing. srcset lists every image that the browser could use, and sizes tells it what your layout actually needs. That's all there is to it. It's not that complicated. But if sizes is wrong, if it's not the intrinsic width of your image, your browser will load the wrong image every single time. If you see a project that's weirdly blurry or unexpectedly huge in bandwidth, it's quite possibly sizes. Cool? Let's go on.
Okay, but what if just scaling the same image down isn't good enough? What if on a tiny screen, you need a completely different shot, a different composition entirely? Well, my friend, that's called art direction, and it's time for you to step into the director's chair.
And you have to get this in your head. The picture element, this isn't about saving a few kilobytes. This is about storytelling. It's about changing the narrative. You can serve up this wide, cinematic, epic shot on a desktop, and then for mobile, you switch to a tight, dramatic, in-your-face close-up. Same scene, completely different story. This is the perfect example. On a wide desktop screen, you get the whole awesome cat party scene, right? But if you just squish that down onto a phone, it would be a blurry mess of tiny little cats. You wouldn't see anything. So instead, using Picture, we swap it out for a completely different, tightly cropped portrait shot. It focuses right on our main character. Same party, totally different composition. That's art direction.
and it's how we guide the user. We want to deliver the optimal experience, the optimal images for the user's actual viewport, for their device. And mastering this is what transforms you from a developer who knows stuff to a developer who designs experiences. The picture element is what news sites, storefronts, and fancy landing pages use to control emotion across viewports. Mobile gets intimacy, desktop gets cinematic width, tablets get the Goldilocks middle layout. If you want your work to feel polished, direct it, tune it, and deliver it.
All right, time for the final boss. We've handled image tags, but what about the images that don't even live in your HTML? I'm talking about those big, beautiful background images you've got in your CSS. They need to be responsive too, right? Of course they do. So for this, we have a secret weapon, Image Set. The easiest way to think about it is it's srcset's cousin, but for CSS. It lets you do the same thing, provide a menu of background image options, different resolutions, even different formats, and you just let the browser pick the best one for the job. Super powerful.
And here you can see it in action. On a standard 1x display, the browser's like, okay, I'll just grab the standard image. But the second it detects a high-density 2x Retina display, it automatically and seamlessly swaps in that sharper, high-res version. It's responsive magic, and it's baked right into your CSS.
Okay, just remember, srcset and sizes is the image magic for your HTML. Image set, same sorcery, done the CSS way.
And that is the whole shebang. We've gone from choosing a format all the way to wrangling CSS backgrounds. So let's put all the pieces of your new, shiny toolkit together one last time. The final recap.
So here it is, your responsive image toolkit. First, you pick the right format for the job. Second, you contain your images so they don't blow up your layout. Third, you use srcset and sizes for that sweet, sweet resolution switching. Fourth, you use picture when you need to do real art direction. And finally, number 5, you use image set for your responsive backgrounds. That's it. Those 5 things. Master them, and you've mastered responsive images.
Look, Professor Solo built the ultimate lesson suite on this stuff. I just gave you the neon-lit highlight reel. You have the tools, you have the knowledge, now go make those pixels behave. T.A. Watts, signing off.
And there we go. 5 techniques, 1 goal. Pick your pictures and make your browser think before it loads. Responsive images, more than meets the eye. So, where do we go from here? Our next lesson is going to switch gears from wrangling images to taming our navigation. Hamburger menu magic. How to build a responsive, accessible, animated navigation in hyperspace. Take a breath, grab a coffee, stretch your fingers and thumbs. I'll meet you in the next module. And before you go, activate like, engage, subscribe, trust the glowing buttons. P.S. Save bandwidth, save the world, and may your pixels always load in the right size and place.